definitely maneuver around by answering that question. That's a good answer though, because you know, it's more than just being an amazing player, but it's also the, you know, the social media elements and what he brings to your brand. So I do understand that. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. But in terms of like player and you know, just straight up jungler, right? In terms of that highlight reel, who's going to be making more of those plays though? Zankyu or Kongli?
Ooh, both of their playstyles are super similar, and also their hero pool here. You can see BTR's draft, they're banning Luna. Does Zankyu not know how to play Luna? He knows how to play Luna, but it's just really down to the full team performance. It's not a peak tournament, it's not a ranked game. It's a 5v5 competitive esports in a global tournament here. So it's down to gameplay, it's down to teams.
Yeah. No, agreed. And I think that that's the biggest thing. I was trying to see exactly where you would step on that one. But it was a bit of a landmine. You definitely maneuvered around it. Well played, Sagi HOK. But going into this one, I think that it's going to be key, right? Because, you know, how that jungle matchup is really going to set the tone. I mean, you have a lot of great supporting cast from the rest of them, but it's all about this draft. It's ensuring that you do get Zankyu or Konglin the best possible matchup possible.
And I've been talking to some of these players on a day-to-day basis. It seems that on the blue side, Zhangfei's priority has skyrocketed compared to the usual Pei, usual Mai Xuanwei early. It's because really, there are counters for picks like those. But let's Nova Esports. You know for a fact that they love the early Diadea into the Augmentor pick.
Yeah. Just this is like a bread and butter combination that they've got. They love that in the bottom lane. It's very flexible. It's very strong. Both meta picks in terms of their laning, picks that they have. But you know, you're talking about the Zhangfei, the Beast, always going to make an impact, right? Working around that Umbrella Alpha is going to be huge for them, and it kind of doesn't give away your draft. He kind of fits into almost anything.
It doesn't really, yeah. And with BTR, blocking in the Breeze Heart is always welcome to counteract against the early. It's one of the staple counters, right? When you pop the ultimate, early comes in, you cannot dodge it, you just get automatically locked by the Xiao Xiao's ultimate. And with one of the most aggressive junglers being the Tigers being locked in by Zankyu, you know for a fact that the counter will be the Ukyu Tachibana from the hands of Nova Esports, or potentially the Ogren. It depends on what they actually need.
And we knew that this matchup was going to be about picks and the counter picks, and you're seeing it instantly, right? Just everything that they're doing. All of the heroes, why you pick the Arlie, you pick the Xiao or the Breeze Heart. I mean, these are heroes that are looking to kind of counter this. And this is why the draft is so key. Having these sorts of chess matches, even before the game even starts, setting yourself up for success is going to be key. And of course, it starts with this draft.
And coming into the second phase, we'll see more of these early counters being removed by the side of Nova Esports. Channel will be removed. Expect something like an Aaron or like a DRJ to be within the next upcoming bans. And an interesting one coming in from BTR, they banned the ultimate weapon Bai Qi. We've seen it once on the hands of Solé, and it had pretty good effect.
Pretty good effect for sure. And I think that, you know, BIGETRON, I mean, this is something that they've kind of seen throughout, something that they could potentially even flex into later, but it looks like they have another idea in mind, because again, they're just kind of banning that out. It seems like the War Saint, the Xuan special, the Guan Yu is going to be a bit of a problem for BIGETRON.
This opens up some counters for the side of Ball in the Clash lane here. Something like the Mayin, something like the Charlotte. These are potential 1v1 specialists that handles the War Saint really well in lane. And let alone, you're adding a Lung into your draft that has built-in self-peel. The right to win, when the War Saint comes in, pop the spell tree, immediately pushes them away.
Yeah, a lot of options, which is great, and that's the biggest thing. It's about winning that lane up matchup. But Xuan is kind of like, he's no slouch, right, on the Guan Yu. Yes, he might lose the lane, but he will always be there come team fights. That's the biggest one. They're gonna pick up the Celestial or the Nua to kind of round out this draft. Really, we've talked about it, you know, already today, but it does the long range in terms of just sniping out the Lung infinite fastness. Plus, it gives you those creation blocks, which could be a bit of an issue, especially if Zankyu wants to pounce in forward.
And after looking this entirety of like both drafts, I want to give props to BTR. I think they draft magnificently, winning out the side lanes and also having a decent counter in against the Arlie. My question is, how can they maximize their value in lane and make sure that Nova Esports doesn't utilize Xuan as the tank that they need to push on for more of these team fights. Because if you look from a tank standpoint, Nova doesn't have someone that's standing in front for Muchi to aggressively go in for those damages.
Yeah. So again, very glass cannon style. They have to play everything is, on a knife's edge, right? In terms of that positioning, ensuring that they stay alive. But, we see Guan Yu, he sometimes struggles when they get focused, right? And he's not able to kind of get that value, that ambush, the Razor Cavalry from the back. Most teams are generally pretty good with this, but Chuan, we've seen this time and time again. You can never count him out. He is an absolute maestro on this hero. He always finds the perfect initiation.
Excited to see what both of these Clash Lanes will put in this game itself, as both of the coaches shake their hands. This is their game to see who cements the first game of this BO5.
Yeah, they're looking, of course, this is Group A. They're looking for number 1. BIGETRON already with 2-0, and they want to go for the sweep on this one in terms of all the teams in Group A. This would be a huge statement match if they were able to take this one out. But starting off strong, if we're looking at these drafts, Agi, who are you giving the edge to?
Honestly speaking, I think BTR drafted perfectly in this game 1, not utilizing too much heroes, building around specific team compositions. I do believe that Lanfeng will go for the Frostguard Embrace semi-tank long build because they have so much damage in store in this composition. If this game doesn't end well in 14 to 16 minutes, you best believe BTR is going to outskill Nova.
Enemy minions will arrive in
I think that will be very interesting. And they do have a lot of options in terms of just kind of giving themselves a bit of an edge. The pay is always there. Zaku, you could never count him out. Plus, he's pretty much just a damage dealer in and of itself. He's just like another farm laner at the end of the day because he's going to be able to kind of carry when required. So Lanfeng and Zaku, a lot of eyes on them. Everybody else is there to kind of just help support and control and create the stuns and that space for Nova to make it tough for them.
And a very smart game plan coming in from Nova Esports, avoiding the laning phase against Lanfeng, utilizing the fast wave clear on Muchi. Lane swapping is Wendy because the Celestial level 1 doesn't really have that much of a wave clear compared to an Arlie. Hence, you move the Arlie to guarantee that mid lane push for Kong Ling, securing the ease of jungling.
Yeah, look at how Muchi's kind of, just babysitting Kong Lin, helping out, expediting that farm as much as possible. So Nova Esports right now ensuring that Kong Lin gets a good game, creates that space, and as well as getting all that farm.
Yep, very smooth and sailing stuff here coming in from Nova Esports, playing to their composition's reach, I would say. And Ball being chunked out in the Clash lane by both Whippet and also Sean. Not going to be an easy laning phase coming in from the BTR rookies here. Calling already finishing up all his camps here, coming in not level 4 yet, but will be level 4 after this phase break.
Yeah, and it looks like Nova Esports doing a great job. The rotations are on point in terms of the timing so that they're getting all the sprites, pushing people away. They have the numbers advantage, and they've rotated. They didn't lose anything in the mid lane. Bucci is already there. He'll happily eat this one up and wait for it for Kong Lin. Perfectly played. These are the minor things where you just get maximum value.
It's like really systematic, right? Everything is planned. Everything is calculated from their movement. But a very good answer of the side of BTR to force Shen to back away from a potential Razor Cavalry. So at the very least in this early game, it's pretty equal coming in from both sides, looking for those handshake exchanges.
Yeah, and just trying to get those small little edges, right? Even in the small exchange that you're talking about, just trying to just kind of go in. Look at how Konglin, always there with that farm. Yes, he's a little bit behind Zaku, but Zaku's just like an amazing farmer. And it looks like Zaku taking a lot of damage here. Needs to be a bit careful. The Azure Golem is the big piece. And now with that Umbrella Outburst, he just hit level 4. So Waypit is now, he's only level 3. Zaku is running the wrong way, but he's just gonna look to use his mobility. But the creation is gonna be there, and he gives up first blood. Wendy will take that. They do get Schwan in return, though.
But this is the disadvantage of fighting in towards the enemy jungle. The Guardian Spore gives you a 15% damage reduction, which that Unbridled Outburst coming in from F1 was actually already really beautiful and really spot on. But due to the fact that there's a debuff, it makes you so weak fighting the enemy jungle.
Yeah, it's very risky, and I mean, this is something that you have to play around. Konglin looking for that steal, did not actually get it, excuse me. Zaku takes it himself. That was very close though.
Oh, he still gets that spike tail beast as well. Everything is going in favor for the side of ZonQ in the jungle exchange here. But 1-1 in terms of scoreline, goal lead is almost dead even between these two squads.
Very close. The annihilation from Wendy just with that wave clear. And this is going to set things up. 30 more seconds for the 4-minute mark before we're at that Tyrant. So BIGETRON right now doing a great job. ZonQ is on pace with Kong Lin though, but Nova have kind of funneled everything. They've used a lot of their resources of just players ensuring that Kong Lin is able to keep pace.
It's what you need to do. These two temple junglers need whatever they need to actually get it. But Xuan, caught in a bad place here, has to escape towards the enemy jungle. Has to pop the ultimate here. Can he run? I'm pretty sure he can run.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. If anything, he's going the roundabout. He's providing a lot of vision to see exactly what those minion camps have been taken. Teleport in the bottom lane. This is going to be the big fight with the Tyrant. But Xuan is already in position with that heroic charge, and it looks like ZonQ leaps on forward, tries to go in. F1 looking for that perfect angle. More than anything else, he's zoning them away.
A clean pickup coming in for the side of BTR by Vitality here, knowing for the fact that in the early game, they are way stronger and they have the vital outburst coming in from the side of F1, forcing the positioning coming in from Nova to just give up the Tyrant.
Yeah, and this is why it's hard for Nova Esports, right? Yeah, they go for the potential steal, but F1 is waiting. He has that all queued up, ready to go, and there's a reason why this is, of course, their first pick. They understand the power of this Zhang Fei, the Beast.
And an interesting itemization as well coming in from Ball. That's a Frostguard Embrace Magin that's being locked in as the first item. So you are foregoing the potential of the burst for more sustained damage to make sure that you can actually get the full burst in.
Yeah. Actually, sustained damage I think is going to be key for here. But Nova Esports using that top lane, pushing ZonQ away, and that creation block, just kind of zoning. And now ZonQ was thinking about going aggressive. They're looking to turn. Nova's on a full-out retreat.
It's good. They managed to defend the tower. It's a positive trade that's in favor for the side of BTR. But check out the fight that's happening right now.
They find it. Nice little two-man stun, but it zones it away. And it looks like ZonQ actually gets the steal. Really well played by BIGETRON. The F1 really set it up.
So clean. It's just to deny the entry. And look at Ball here. Might be caught out.
Oh, the flash away. He's so fast. Wow. He cartwheels to safety. This Mayin is a problem. The mobility is real, and Nova not really with a whole lot of catch. And again, the spider senses from Ball just being able to get out. Perfect timing.
They're expending so much resources, spell CDs from the side of Nova Esports. And back to the topic of F1, he played that so well. He used the Unbridled Outburst, pushes out all the potential smite potential from the side of Kong Lane. When you are knocked up or pushed away, you can't smite. That's how ZonQ got a guaranteed one on top of Kong Lane.
Yeah, it's the small things, right? Being all of these guys just understanding their assignments, when to do things. The timing is on, perfect point. Nova Esports are looking to kind of, they were looking to just kind of defend, but they were pushed away. Just really well played by BIGETRON. They are matching the level of play of Nova Esports right now.
The way they play the half map is so beautiful. You can see both teams just trading and respecting for the fact that, okay, the enemy is controlling the mid and top side. I'm controlling the mid and bot side, so we forego it and we trade turrets here. This is very clean stuff from both teams to always make sure that there is turrets trading on towards the cross map. And if Nova goes for this, we might see ZonQ and also Lanfeng go for the top side.
Yeah, very smart, right? Nobody was there to kind of, the top T1, Nova was willing to give up because Kong Lin was already in the bottom, just put pressure on. So this is the way you want to go. You don't have to fight all the time. And it's all about understanding where space is given to you. And Nova Esports are a great team in terms of being able to take up space when they required.
Both teams playing really masterful HOK in terms of the macro. Both the teams, I would say, the way they control the map is very similar. They don't take fights that are not guaranteed, but they take resources based on the half map that they're playing. That's why mid top side was controlled by BTR, mid bot side was controlled by Nova. Hence the tier 2s going down on each end.
Yeah, and the outside lanes, they're going to trade blow for blow in that sense in terms of those T2s, but the mid lane is going to be the key, right? Once one of these squads win out in a team fight, they're going to be looking to just push that down. But right now, they have both of those strategic T1s mid still standing, and it will extend the game.
Ball here, cartwheels towards safety here, runs away from Xuan. Beautiful stuff here coming in from the BTR Clash lane. Currently at 8 minutes of the game, 1,000 gold each on Unbridled Outburst.
Oh, nice Konglin. The stun's a real stampede. They have a lot. Konglin is actually looking to fight this one, but now he's turning this around, understanding that he's in a precarious situation. They find Schwan. They get the pick off. Lanfang went in, and he gets on his dragon, and he gets back to safety. BIGETRON hitting on all cylinders. They've got 2 members down, and now they want to look to go for this mid T1. But they find ZanQ instead. They actually get the bitter farewell. They do get the revenge. Mucci with that damage has enough. They get that pick. The flash away. It looks like Nova Esports are going to be happy with just ZanQ.
Call me a glazer, but both teams are playing to a superb level, trading blows left and right. First one, we see how the side of BTR kited Konglin, and Konglin managed to kite towards safety thanks to the Pure Sky and the heal coming in from Wave Pit and also the Swift Strike's ultimate. Next play, Shren gets taken out, and ZanQ and team wants to go for that mid-tier 1. Hence, that's why you see the pressure coming in. But Mucci clicks on towards his spells, gets that assassination on towards ZanQ, meaning it's a 1-for-1 trade with no structural damage in that mid lane.
Yeah, this is one thing that we've seen from ZanQ, though, is that sometimes he gets a little out of position. It's just relying a little bit too much on his mobility. And Nova Esports have some answers. I mean, Mucci is kind of mobile in and of itself. Wave Pit is kind of annoying with those bitter farewells and that control, which kind of locks you down. So ZanQ needs to play a little bit safer, ensuring that he stays alive more than anything else. You can't give up any kills.
That was a big annihilation as well on towards the face of Genmith. But timer is still available. 15 seconds until the shadow objective spawn for both teams. We see Nova Esports taking the aggressive end on towards the top side, potentially looking for the trade on the Shadow Overlord.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to fortify the area first. BIGETRON right now understanding that, hey, F1, he just needs to stand out in front. Somebody wants to go, he's going to push them all back. But now they're going to look to go for the Tyrant. It's already at half-life. F1 getting a little bit low himself, needs to be careful. Konglin eating some damage in terms of that, but they get the Tyrant. ZanQ is going to pick that one up. And now the heroic charge by Schwan. The Stampede is going to be on point. They find Konglin as well as the Tyrant in a great turn of events for BIGETRON.
The advantage of the draft coming in by BTR, much more solid, much more crowd control, has a proper front line. You saw how difficult it was for Konglin to actually approach to that Shadow Tyrant pit. It was just easy stuff for ZanQ to hit that smite, and then it allowed for the side of BTR to take that fight with the added advantage of the Shadow Tyrant. With the goal lead of 2,000 and the Shadow objective, this looks pretty promising for BTR.
Yeah, it looks definitely promising. I mean, they're playing the draft exactly how you want. You have Ball, you have Genmith there to kind of control people if somebody jump in. You had F1, you know, as that forward scout if anyone were to jump in. And Konglin, again, to your point, he was not able to get in closer because they had these big bouncers up front. The security was not letting him even enter, allowing him to enter the building.
Now we have to put our focus on towards another end, right? How does scaling work for both of these teams? If we were to really observe, I think it really slightly favors BTR. The only good part of Nova's late game is Wendy on this Nuwa. If he can just max out these items, 16 minutes into his game, Wendy will be the primary carry of Nova.
Yeah, well, definitely, right? And also you have Konglin and Mucci, and that's 3 damage dealers, which I think is going to be enough to deal with BIGETRON. I mean, going into the late game, I kind of look at things of the rest of it. I mean, Genmith and Ball obviously can do damage, but they're going to be able to get bursted. They need to be careful in terms of their positioning. So they, you know, those late game team fights could potentially get bursted. And now Konglin on the run. He's going to get gone on. He gets focused down, and Genmith with that damage, they have enough. And now Schwan on the run. The rest of Nova just trying to stay alive, just hiding under that T3. But BIGETRON, again, with a nice pick off. They're going to take the Overlord as well as the Crimson at the same time.
This is the pressure of the draft. You don't have frontline, you can't face check. You need Konglin to push himself to look for the objectives, to check the bushes here. The moment he clicks in, gets CC chained by Lanfeng and Genmith, gets pounced on by ZanQ, unable to escape even if he can cartwheel twice. The pressure is starting to succumb Nova Esports in this game 1. 12 minutes on the clock, look at engage on towards Wendy.
Oh, Wendy actually already flashed. He's getting a little bit low, but he's already used the Genmith with the passive, dodging the annihilation, but he does get picked off in the end. Just too aggressive, out of position, not where you want to be, especially if you're the Xiao at this stage.
Breathing room secured for Nova. Not having Gem Mid for the next 25 seconds allows Nova to clear up this pesky Overlord and Vanguards marching through all 3 lanes. The next big fight that we need to pay attention will be this Shadow Tyrant. This will be a make or break for both of these teams. Check out the itemization here. ZanQ beating the gold leader here, almost working to his final item, potentially the Siege Breaker for that last.
Yeah, we were talking about the junglers, about like we need to watch them, like ZanQ, he's 0-2-4, Konglin is 0-3. I mean, they've just been focused, right? They've not been able to kind of pop off. Yes, they are still providing a lot of value to their team, but it just seems like both of these squads understanding what the junglers are bringing, and that's why they're constantly being focused and just having a rougher game than they normally would.
And Shred is being silenced this entire game. Not a single good Razor Cavalry, but you have to imagine, it's because Bal can actively cancel out this 1v1 against the War Saint, and also Lamfeng has built-in protection against the Guan Yu here. So it's a very difficult game for Shred's Guan Yu to actually find for these big backline picks.
Can we talk about Bal more? Because I think that this is the guy
Sure.
that is just completely impressed at the KIS. I mean, yes, it's only day 3, but man, they've played so well. The 3rd day in a row of just absolute highlight reel plays. Bal has stepped up more to the task than ever expected. He's just done so well, and why BIGETRON are doing what they're doing and fighting Nova Esports to the T. They're actually winning at this stage.
A 3,000 goal lead in favor, and Bal has a really smart build on towards the Mayin. He's not going for the traditional Axe of Torment into the full burst build. He's going for the tank build. You see the Frigid Charge, you see the Succubus Cloak, you see the Frostfire Embrace. He makes it so that his Mayin, the sole purpose is to zone off and CC lock some of these hyper mobility like Muchi, like Xuan.
Yeah. And Juan has not been able to get away, right? The pullback, just constantly just slowing him down. He's been struggling, right? And this is like the perfect counter pick. And Bal has played this one phenomenally. He has not been tunnel vision with other heroes. He understands, again, his assignment of what he needs to do. And Xuan, Konglin, these are guys that he's been constantly focused on.
This is not going to be easy, right? If we do see BTR, this is the prime time for them to at least put some structural damage. Bal goes in, gets the kick on, but has to burn the flash. Doesn't find on towards anybody as of this point.
Yeah, I mean, just more of a zoning more than anything else. But the bottom T3, this is the target that they were wanting. And BIGETRON taking that. And Nova Esports, all they could do is watch. No real way to get any sort of initiation off.
Oh, you see ZanQ just toying with his prey. Baiting Muji to use the Parasol to actually go in for the catch, but he has the added mobility to actually escape towards safety here. And with the Shadow Overlord spawn, we see more members being committed towards this Overlord pick here. A fight is about to break out.
Yeah, they're about to. I mean, they pushed them away. Nova Esports were like, okay, maybe we go for the steal, but even that is not even possible. The lanes have been pushing, they've been zoned away, but this is exactly how you want to win out games. But you have an advantage. You have heroes that are in the perfect spot to provide that vision. If somebody were to jump in, it's a suicide mission. BIGETRON playing this one perfectly.
Now they have to find the winning formula. Okay, you have the Overlord, you have the 4,000 goal lead. How do you convert this into a confirmed win? The crystal explosion of your enemy team. You need to play this systematically. We've seen Nova come back from situations like this, but can they hold on? Because BTR, very good performance thus far.
They've been playing very patiently, right? They're very diligent with how they push. Nobody's getting out of position. The way that they're slow sieging, this has got to be frustrating. There are no gaps for Nova Esports to kind of go back into this one. They need BIGETRON to make some mistakes so that they can come back.
It is, and with the minions coming in towards this tower right now, we see the top high ground being pressured here. One click of an Unbridled Outburst might put Nova Esports into despair, giving up the top tier 3, the final one in the mid lane.
Yeah, and not even using the Unbridled Outburst. It's more of a threat more than anything else. Lanfeng getting a little bit low himself, but this is perfect. The way that they siege that, I mean, he didn't even need to use it. F1 that is, in terms of using that Unbridled Outburst, but the potential for that stun is there, so Nova had to play scared.
They cannot gamble on the fact that, okay, does F1 hit or miss? If he hits, the game is over. So they have to voluntarily give away resources like this. And this Shadow Tyrant, it's not looking good as well. It's going freely to the hands of BTR, and Wendy cannot find the snipe.
Yeah, couldn't find it. He wanted to go for the emergence to annihilation, but he needed to get a little bit of vision on it. Unfortunately, was not able to click his spells fast enough to do it because it was just too much damage from BIGETRON. But man, the way that they're playing, I mean, Zhang Q, he's 14.8. He doesn't have a single kill, but the way he's been able to farm, and now Xuan in a bad spot getting gone on here, like they have so much pressure and damage that Nova have to respect it.
And Nova respects it. They give away the mid-control Abradopterus.
They find it. The Stampede is on point as well. They're going to dive the Crystal. They don't care. They understand. They have a huge advantage. But Lanfeng is going to be picked off. They find Wendy. Not the greatest of trades in that sense, but they get all the towers and the F1 now. Looking to turn. Muchi went out, and now they look to go. And Zhang Q turning it up, getting all the kills, making a triple kill as they take game number 1.
IKL fans definitely will be going crazy after this, because what do you mean BTR drew first blood in the series against Nova Esports in such a disciplined and well-played manner? Such a good display from the BTR troopers.
And the way that they've been playing, BIGETRON time and time again, they obviously it's Zhang Q and Lanfeng. Both of those guys, generally, one of them gets picked off, but they have the other one to stick around. Both of those guys have so much net worth and items that they're able to continue on regardless of if one of those two drop. Very well played by, of course, BIGETRON by Vitality here.
We also have to give props towards the coaching staff that finalized this draft for the side of BTR by Vitality, because it was so beautiful, and every single red side counter pick that has been proposed from the side of Nova has been systematically debunked by the BTR roster. The draft, right? We see, okay, good Guan Yu 4th pick coming in from the side of Nova, but the problem is, you don't have a single good target, and you don't have a good environment to actually provide value. Because what do we mean that the enemy has a Lung, the enemy has things like a Mayin. The moment you go in, you're gonna be broken down and you can't find a perfect charge on towards the backline because your bar below is gonna be silenced by those two heroes. And then we see on towards the front end, you don't have a solid front line to allow Muchi to actively auto-attack the enemy here. Hence, the moment F1 walks up with the Zhang Fei, who's gonna fetch the ultimate? No one's gonna fetch the ultimate because Kong Ling, once the tempo is over between that 1v1, the Pei travels around the map much faster compared to the Ukyo Tachibana.
Yeah. They were able to choose their moments. I think that that's the biggest thing by BIGETRON, right? Being able to just kind of, you know, if Xuan were to go in, he gets caught out, then, like, again, to your point, who's going to step up front? Who's going to be that tanky frontliner? They don't have anyone. And it seems like BIGETRON, if more than anything else, this was an outdraft, right? They knew how Nova Esports were going to want to play this, and they had the perfect counter for almost every single lane.
It is, where we saw from the draft, props to the coach for finalizing this, and even in the game, the execution coming in from the players was pretty top-notch. Gemif was always consistent aside from that one mid-lane death, while in F1 was always finding the opportunities in setting up the carries for the DPS to fall into the correct targets here. Hence, Xuan and also Kong Ling heavily silenced this game because they were forced to be the front line to consistently walk up for vision. But once they walk up, they realize like no one's going to be assisting them because they can't.
Yeah, no one can. There's no way, right? They're just so squishy. I mean, you're thinking that, hey, with Wendy's long range and all that, but none of them can fight. Like, Kong Lin was struggling to really find his footing in terms of just kind of getting out in front to do some of that damage. Wei Pit was there. I mean, very minimal, right? Because he's very squishy in and of itself. Muchi was never, I mean, complete glass cannon. You look at Muchi and he dies, right? So this is a lineup that was really struggling to kind of, like, to have any sort of frontliner.
Yeah, I mean, this is still game 1. There is many more games to come. I do believe. Or are we going to go for a storyline that BTR is going to 3-0 Nova? Is that too crazy?
After what we just saw, it's not crazy, right? I think that BIGETRON right now, they've completely leveled up, completely impressed me. And, you know, like, this is the squad. This is what they wanted to do. This is something that they really have struggled to do to face an MKL team and to do it as dominantly as they did. My only concern right now is the fact that it took them 18 minutes and not 12 minutes.
I think it makes sense because every single objective that have took and plucked out of Nova's base comes in the form of the Shadow Overlord and Shadow Tyrant. That's why you see there's 3 Shadow Tyrants secured and 2 Shadow Overlord secured by the side of BTR. They are playing the game in a systematic way that it doesn't allow Stren or anyone to find a potential pickoff on their players here. They are not forcing things, they are not confirmed.
Yeah. Actually, that's the biggest thing, right? They were very patient, very disciplined. All of the approaches, all the sieges, they were constantly keeping everybody at arm's reach, understanding the limits. And if somebody were to get out of position, they made them pay. And again, you know, ZonQ, Lan Feng, both of these guys had enough damage to burst those guys down. And they're squishy enough where Nova really could not find their footing in this one.
Now it comes to the question, how would they repeat the same success in Game 2? Game 1, very beautiful drafting coming in from the coaching staff and also players' execution. But Nova is one of those teams that comes back strong as well. So I'm wanting to see what is in store for Game 2's draft, because this game is really nail-biting. Every single moment that both of these teams come into the team fights, you don't know what's going to happen next. But this time, BTR, they stood up tall.
Yeah. Definitely stood tall, and they got to be very proud with this, right? I mean, if they were able to kind of take the series, I think that would speak even more in terms of their confidence and the way that they should be playing. But that was a phenomenal game, right? A very impressive one. BIGETRON, we knew that they had leveled up, but to this level, I mean, like, it seemed like Nova Esports were not able to do typical Nova Esports things, and they were on the defensive. It seemed like, again, maybe the lack of a tanky jungler has kind of thrown things in a bit of a loop, right? I mean, like, you had CY Ogren, maybe it could have been better because they didn't have that frontliner. Instead, the frontliner was on the other end, and it was F1, the beast. His impact was definitely felt.
Tanking 143,000 damage from the enemy team and not suffering even a single death. The consistency coming in from the BTR roamer just spells numbers.
Yeah, and actually F1 didn't die, Ball didn't die. Like, this is incredibly smart. It's tough to do. Both of those guys understanding their assignments. Ball has to be aggressive, has to be forcing things, getting those controls, but doing it in a way where he always stays alive. Ball, man, this is a guy we gotta be watching out for at the KIS.
Look at this. They're just limiting Stren's approach, getting kills on towards Kongling, and just bailing towards safety here, even though Muchi gets a return kill on towards here. But these are the moments that's why that F1 deserves the MVP. There is no smite contention when the enemy cannot enter the smite pit.
Yeah, like, all of these highlights just set up that perfect two-man stun, slowing them down for the rest of BIGETRON to be there. Like, everything that they're doing right now, all of the guys, ZonQ and Lan Feng, they're going to do their damage, but every Ball, Genmin, F1, these guys, look at how much control they had for the rest of the team. Look at their diving, understanding that, hey, F1 is still alive. Let's turn this around. We're still strong. And the perfect play for ZonQ to clean up and stay alive, do it under the crystal, and to close out the game. That's exactly how you want to do it as BIGETRON.
The bigger troopers, the BTR fans are definitely running wild right now. You can see the flags in the stadium itself. You just know how much this means to them, because if we watch back the poster just now, it was like what? 0-3 and